The following is a presentation of Tuning into SciFi TV, the viewer's guide to genre television.
All right, everybody stay here.
What could go wrong? Over the course of 3 nights, practically everyone here was turned.
He's gone. Our future depends on it. Make it safe.
We need a bigger gator!
Lisa, shoot it! Shoot it!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Saturday B Movie Reel. I'm Kevin Batchelder, and on this show, I'm going to be covering Carnosaur from 1993. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Appreciate you coming back to check out some discussions about fun B movies here at the podcast. As always, at the end of the show, we'll list some of the different ways you can get in touch with us. Again, probably the one that I recommend the most is the Facebook group. Well over 1,000 members now and growing, talking about sci-fi originals and classics like this one and many other type of fun B-movies in the sci-fi and fantasy genre. You can follow the link in the show notes to that at SaturdayBMovieReel.com. Look at any of the posts, it's there. Or if you go to Facebook.com/groups/fans of sci-fi originals. Love to see you in there talking up films and getting some more details. A reminder for those of you who are not aware, coming up at the end of June here in 2015, if you're listening to this within a few weeks of its release, will be the Indie PopCon event in Indianapolis at indiepopcon.com. And we're going to have several B-movie things going on there. I will be attending. I'll be assisting in the Salute to the Asylum event that they're doing. These are the dates of June 26th to the 28th. And we also are going to be having the B-Movie Celebration, which is an event that I've attended for the last several years, taking place there as well. So by all means, if you're in the Indy area or you want to come or you're planning to come or anything, reach out. Let us know. It'd be great to touch base with you and hopefully see you at the convention and have some fun with some B-movies. All right, let's talk in some detail about this particular title. And if you are new to the podcast, along with a big thank you and welcome, keep in mind we don't hold anything back here. We will talk in full detail about the film, so if you haven't seen it, you will be spoiled. But kicking off, as we always like to do, let's talk about some of the folks who helped to make the film possible. First off, some of our key actors in the film. Our female lead, is Diane Ladd, very well-known actress. She's playing Dr. Tiptree here. She has 131 credits listed on IMDb. She was nominated for 3 Academy Awards in her career, up till now. Still very active, including nominations in just a year or two before this film came out. She has credits going back to the 50s. So, very accomplished actress, very good at what she does. We also have playing probably our male lead, I guess you'd call it. Certainly, at the most screen time would be Raphael Sbarge, I believe it's pronounced. He's playing Doc. Many credits, 152 credits listed on IMDb for him. If you're a fan of genre TV, you've been seeing him on Once Upon a Time over the last couple of years. I know the first time I saw him was back in Risky Business, one of his first credits back in the 80s, supporting role. He also had a fairly prominent role in Independence Day as well, but he has been in just a ton of TV shows over the last 10 years. I mean, genre or not, he's certainly a face I suspect many of you will recognize. We also have Jennifer Runyon here playing Thrash. That's her nickname. It's her and Doc that are kind of a pair, if you will, a couple in this film. Only 34 credits listed for her, and actually this film was one of her last. She had some stuff in the late 70s, early 80s, before it looks like she got out of the business, or certainly wasn't anywhere near as active. And one other role to highlight would be the sheriff here, Harrison Page. He has 71 credits listed, including a ton of TV shows back in the 70s. Many shows in the 70s that he was in, that, again, if you were as old as I am, you might recognize him, but I'm sure if you look at his IMDb page, you'll recognize the shows that are on there. A ton of very popular ones, and he certainly got involved in many of them. Now, this particular film was directed by Adam Simon. Only 8 directing credits, and actually no feature films after this one. A few documentaries, but this was his last feature film. Now, he's also listed on the writing side as the credit for the screenplay, and also 8 writing credits. But most recently, actually, even though this one was back in the early 90s, he's been writing several episodes now for the genre TV show Salem. I think over 10 episodes in the last year or two. Now, the particular film was based, at least loosely, can't say I've read it, but it is based on a novel by John Brosnan, who's also known or has written the novel as Harry Adam Knight. I'm not going to claim to know why he's got the different names there, but he did wrote the original novel. He also wrote the original treatment of which the screenplay was based, so I've got to give him some credit there. Now, if you're not aware or you haven't seen this film, this is a Roger Corman-produced film, and in that style, it's only 80 minutes long. It certainly could fit very well in the drive-in approach to films, or for those of you who don't like to see films drag on for too long. I think we're right around 79 or 80 minutes before the credits roll on this one, so not many wasted scenes, as they say. Get right to it. And this one certainly does remind me a little bit, not so much from the story, but certainly the look and feel of some other Corman-produced films like Piranha and a few other from that 70s, 80s, maybe early 90s. And again, it's probably just a look and feel. It's probably like many other films from that time. I'm not saying it's a Corman blueprint so much as having watched many of them. It's certainly seeing some of the character types and the shots and such reminded me quite a bit. Our story here, and it's funny, I do remember seeing this one, not sure, I won't say shortly after it came out, but sometime probably by mid-90s. And I haven't seen it in close to 20 years, I don't think, before I had it on my list for the podcast. I do know some of you that are probably listening were fans of the film, or I've talked it up. I've seen it mentioned in reviews, certainly in our Facebook group, so I know some of you are definitely fans of it. And it's funny, I remember seeing it. The thing that I remember different, or that I would say contrasts the most, I should say, with right now talking about it is not that I liked it less now, but this is a pretty depressing film in the sense that we lose almost all of our key characters by the end. And I mean, it's very much shot at night and with some indoor scenes. And really, just looking at it as a whole again, it's pretty much of a downer in the sense of what you're watching. There's very little upbeat or humor or hopeful stuff near the end in terms of what happens. So again, I'm not saying it's bad for that, but it really kind of struck me more this time around. I mean, this film came out mere weeks before Jurassic Park. I mean, Corman was great at riding what was going to be hot at the time. And it's got similar aspects to it of the dinosaurs being brought back to life, if you will, or through some DNA and science recreated. And in this particular one, we start out with a story of seeing some workers at what appears to be a chicken farm and some type of a creature that gets out of an egg and starts killing people. We really don't see the creature. Obviously, by going into the film, we know what it is, but you can't really tell. Being back at this time, you're and doing my air quotes, your special effects or your visual effects, to be maybe a little more accurate, really have to do with camera angles, not showing you too much. Maybe some stop motion, some creature setups there from the makeup side. So we get a lot of crafty angles to see what's going on. We do see that Doc and Thrash are going to be our couple. As some bits of the story are playing out, it's a little, broad stroked in terms of kind of how they are together or where that comes from. We don't see a lot on that. We do see that a lot of this is going to be set at a construction site. We do see some teenagers who are going to be some of the first victims out on a joyride with a beer or two that end up out near this desert area, and the creature kind of takes them out. We see it attacking them in a car. But it's actually not until, and I put it in my notes, 22 minutes into the film before we really get a full shot of the creature. That way, and again, this is because of very much back at this time, you really couldn't do these real well on this kind of a budget. So you have to kind of allude to it. Nowadays, many of the sci-fi originals, the current creature films, my goodness, if it's more than 5 minutes before we've seen the creature or some of the kills, it's unusual. So to wait 22 minutes, a little unusual by today's standards, but again, it worked here. But we do find out this creature has been growing very fast. By the time we're 30 minutes in the film, it's probably the size of a man. As I said, a lot is said at the construction site. We have this idea that people who are against them doing this drudging or digging, so they handcuff themselves or tie themselves to a lot of the big equipment they're going to use there and going to just stay there all night. Well, that's not going to work good when you have a dinosaur coming around, so it eats most of them there. A good part of them get taken out from that construction equipment. We do have had a few shots of the sheriff, trying to figure out what's going on. We got a few government types who are talking about this woman scientist, and she's brilliant, and she's kind of gone rogue, or they're not sure what she's doing. Come to find out she's the one naturally who's engineered all this. And it's her facility that we've seen a lot of what's been going on. But the sheriff's trying to figure out a few things. We now all of a sudden start to hear that there's a lot of people with a fever. This seems to come out of nowhere. And it seems to be mostly women who have this fever. Even the sheriff's family is affected there. And we do see Doc kind of show up at the facility for our woman who's in charge of a lot of this, and he's trying to trick our lead scientist woman into thinking he's got the dinosaur by having just some dead guy on a gurney or something. Okay, I'm just going to go with maybe the 90s cameras couldn't do perspective very well, that she would think it was a dinosaur when it's just a human being. But he's got a gun. He's the one who's going to get us the exposition of what's really going on. Meanwhile, back at the sheriff's house, as he's putting his poor wife to go rest because she's got this fever, he's trying to open with some eggs to make an omelet or something, and they're very gross, this green or black goo, and sure enough, there's little teeny dinosaurs in all of them, and we can't realize what they've got going on. Meanwhile, back at the lab area, as our Doc is holding the scientist hostage, we see the poor secretary for the scientist woman saying that she's got a fever and we have to help her out. And when they start setting her up, they're setting up, and I start to realize, wait a minute, they're doing this like she's going to have a baby, and sure enough, she appears to be having something. She has an egg, and the dinosaur is coming out of it. Now that, to me, certainly in the rewatch, still came out of nowhere with what's going on, but apparently this fever is because there's something changed in the DNA, and I'll call her evil, but our bad scientist woman has this idea that it's time to let the dinosaurs reclaim the Earth. And, we're basically going to kill off all the women by having them have these baby dinosaurs. So therefore, there's no way for man to continue. So it's one of those classic stories of how we're going to take over the world or reset, mankind or the lack thereof. So it kind of falls forward from there. Doc wants to take care of I guess we'll call her the girlfriend, Thrash there. So he's trying to get the antidote and then runs off to try to protect her, realizing that it's probably going to affect her. Meanwhile, our scientist woman is also going to have a dinosaur baby, only this time it pops right out of her stomach to kill her. So we're starting to see that happen in a few other points. The government types are all naturally running around like crazy trying to figure out, talking about the end of mankind in a matter of days. So we really have to blow it up good. There was one great line that I do want to point out when Doc was there with the gun, and she's telling the audience and Doc the whole story of what we're trying to do, recreate the dinosaurs, bring them back. He makes this quote, which I'm sure at the time back in the 90s, that might have gone right past me, but now, certainly with where Jurassic Park has gone, because he says, quote, "Wow, that whole idea would make a great theme park," which was pretty good. We had a nice showdown with the sheriff, and when he ends up kind of on Main Street after he hears the creature, trying to hunt it, it comes after him. He gets a good shot in on it with his shotgun, but not being the smartest tack in the box, he gets a little too close, and sure enough, it impales him before he can blow its head off. But at this point, we've got enough other dinosaurs to keep wreaking havoc. It does appear that Doc's going to save Thrash, but he makes a mistake of broadcasting that we're here, we're still alive, and by now the government types are well into their wipe everybody out who knows anything phase. Because by the time they show up, this was after Doc and Thrash get in some bobcats, pretty small looking ones, to actually fight the remaining dinosaur that had gotten out of the lab. And Doc was able to kill it there, which was fine. We think, we're getting close to the end. Okay, he goes back, he's going to take care of his girlfriend, but we got the government types, and we know when they come out, they get guns, and they shoot him and kill him. I mean, they shot him probably 15 times by the look of it. But then they burn the entire trailer that they were living in down. So the idea is, by this point, most of the people that we've seen have now been killed, so that they're killing them all off. So it's a little depressing in that sense. There's not much you're rooting for as you see what's happening. Now, by setting it up this way, this is going to be able to spawn I think, 2 sequels that came out, Carnosaur 2 and 3, just a couple of years apart there in the 90s. And for what it's worth, and it's just information to be shared, I do notice on IMDb that the ratings for those films steadily goes down. But it's been forever since I've seen 2 and 3, and I might not have even seen 3. 2, I have some vague memories of. But the DVD set that I got had the first and second, so I'll probably watch the second fairly soon. So, again, while it might have been a little depressing, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, boy, I definitely noticed that with a lot of other films not quite going that far to kill off so many characters. A couple do, but not as many as this one, certainly. All right, well, let's give you the ratings in our 8 categories where we have fun. These are from 0 to 10 or not applicable. And again, don't think of these as the old school-type grades, 70, 80, 90, like A, B, or C. These are just total points that you can get from 1 to 10 for these categories. All right, kicking it off, as we always do. Title. Carnosaur is pretty simple. Very descriptive, but pretty simple. Leaning on the nice side, I'll give him 7 points, even though it's kind of blah. All right, the plot, it's missing a few things. It really, even on the rewatch, I'm still wondering how some pieces here pull together. So I'm only going to give him a 6 here. Don't overthink the plot. Please don't overthink the plot. It's just a chance to see the creature. Special effects or visual effects. On the limited budget and being 20 years old, not too bad. They really don't stick out in a poor way. I mean, you can tell, obviously, for those of us who have seen many films by now, where they're purposely not showing you much, and the tiny dinosaurs are a little tough sometimes to see them move. But the larger ones interacting weren't too bad. So we're going to give them a very solid 7 on that. Cheese level, not applicable. This is a very serious, almost borderline horror type film and how they look at it. So we got to go NA there. Eye candy, not a real involvement here at all. No disrespect to the women in the film, but there's certainly no aspect here. So we're also going to go NA for eye candy. Rewatchability, it's got a bit. It's one of those ones, probably not too frequently, but you do appreciate it many years later, certainly. And again, the practical side of folks like to see this kind of stuff done. So not bad. We'll give it a 6. Death scenes, we lose a lot of people. I mean, I'm going to give a couple of points built in here just on volume. As I said, between the kids in the car, the Greenpeace types, on the construction equipment, most of the people in the town, a few government types, truck drivers. Body count is high in this one. Some pretty basic type stuff, but not too bad. So it's a solid 7 there as well. All right, well, there are my thoughts on Carnosaur. I suspect many of you have seen it, so I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Let me know where you agree or disagree on that one. I hope you appreciate and enjoyed that one. And I do always look forward to the feedback, folks. Makes it a lot of fun for these, so please do let me know. All righty, I'm going to finish up there, and I hope you all take care. We offer several ways for you to get in touch with us. You can come by our website at SaturdayBmovieReel.com and leave a comment on any of our blog posts. There's a link there to our discussion forums. You can also send us private email at feedback@tuningintoscifitv.com or leave us a voicemail message 24 hours a day at 206-202-4182. We also offer a SpeakPipe widget that's on the right side of any of the pages on our website, where you can use your computer or smartphone to leave us a recorded message. And you can find us on Twitter at SatBMovieReel. And our most popular option is our Facebook group. Just search for Fans of Sci-Fi Original Movies, or follow the link to that from any of our blog posts.
Listen to Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV on Stitcher Radio On Demand. Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. You've been listening to the Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV Saturday B-Movie Reel, episode 169, recorded May 31st, 2015.